The fall. The serpent was the most subtle of the wild beasts that Yahweh God had made. It asked the woman, "Did God really say you were not to eat from any of the trees in the garden?" The woman answered the serpent, "We may eat the fruit of the trees in the garden, but of the fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden, God said, you must not eat it, nor touch it, under pain of death." Then the serpent said to the woman, "No, you will not die. God knows, in fact, that on the day you eat it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like gods, knowing good and evil." The woman saw that the tree was good to eat and pleasing to the eye, and that it was desirable for the knowledge that it could give. So she took some of its fruit and ate it. She gave some also to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized that they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together to make themselves loincloths. The man and his wife heard the sound of Yahweh God walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and they hid from Yahweh God among the trees of the garden. But Yahweh God called to the man, "Where are you?" he asked. "I heard the sound of you in the garden," he replied. "I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." "Who told you that you were naked?" he asked. "Have you been eating of the tree I forbade you to eat?" The man replied, "It was the woman you put with me. She gave me the fruit and I ate it." Then Yahweh God asked the woman, "What is this you have done?" The woman replied, "The serpent tempted me and I ate." Then Yahweh God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, be accursed beyond all cattle, all wild beasts. You shall crawl on your belly and eat dust every day of your life. I will make you enemies of each other, you and the woman, your offspring and her offspring. It will crush your head, and you will strike its heel." To the woman he said, "I will multiply your pains in childbearing. You shall give birth to your children in pain. Your yearning shall be for your husband, yet he will lord it over you." To the man he said, "Because you listened to the voice of your wife and ate from the tree of which I had forbidden you to eat, accursed be the soil because of you. With suffering shall you get your food from it. Every day of your life it shall yield you brambles and thistles, and you shall eat wild plants. With sweat on your brow shall you eat your bread until you return to the soil, as you were taken from it. For dust you are, and to dust you shall return." The man named his wife Eve, because she was the mother of all those who live. Yahweh God made clothes out of skins for the man and his wife, and they put them on. Then Yahweh God said, "See, the man has become like one of us, with his knowledge of good and evil. He must not be allowed to stretch out his hand next and pick from the tree of life and eat some and live forever." So Yahweh God expelled him from the Garden of Eden to till the soil from which he had been taken. He banished the man, and in front of the Garden of Eden he posted the cherubs and the flame of a flashing sword to guard the way to the tree of life. The man had intercourse with his wife Eve, and she conceived and gave birth to Cain. I have acquired a man with the help of Yahweh, she said. She gave birth to a second child, Abel, the brother of Cain. Now Abel became a shepherd and kept flocks, while Cain tilled the soil. Time passed, and Cain brought some of the produce of the soil as an offering for Yahweh, while Abel, for his part, brought the firstborn of his flock and some of their fat as well. Yahweh looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but he did not look with favor on Cain and his offering, and Cain was very angry and downcast. Yahweh asked Cain, "Why are you angry and downcast? If you are well disposed, ought you not to lift up your head? But if you are ill disposed, is not sin at the door, like a crouching beast hungering for you, which you must master?" Cain said to his brother Abel, "Let us go out." And while they were in the open country, Cain set on his brother Abel and killed him. Yahweh asked Cain, "Where is your brother Abel?" "I do not know," he replied. "Am I my brother's guardian?" "What have you done?" Yahweh asked. "Listen to the sound of your brother's blood, crying out to me from the ground. Now be accursed and driven from the ground that has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood at your hands. When you till the ground, it shall no longer yield you any of its produce. You shall be a fugitive and a wanderer over the earth." Then Cain said to Yahweh, "My punishment is greater than I can bear. See, today you drive me from this ground. I must hide from you and be a fugitive and a wanderer over the earth. Why, whoever comes across me will kill me." "Very well then," Yahweh replied. "If anyone kills Cain, sevenfold vengeance shall be taken for him." So Yahweh put a mark on Cain to prevent whoever might come across him from striking him down. Cain left the presence of Yahweh and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain had intercourse with his wife, and she conceived and gave birth to Enoch. He became the builder of a town, and he gave the town the name of his son, Enoch. Enoch had a son, Irad, and Irad became the father of Mehujael. Mehujael became the father of Methushael, and Methushael became the father of Lamech. Lamech married 2 women. The name of the first was Ada, and the name of the second was Zillah. Ada gave birth to Jabal. He was the ancestor of the tent dwellers and owners of livestock. His brother's name was Jubal. He was the ancestor of all who play the lyre and the flute. As for Zillah, she gave birth to Tubal-Cain. He was the ancestor of all metal workers in bronze or iron. Tubal-Cain's sister was Naamah. Lamech said to his wives, "Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. Lamech's wives, listen to what I say. I killed a man for wounding me, a boy for striking me. Sevenfold vengeance is taken for Cain, but 77-fold for Lamech." Seth and his descendants. Adam had intercourse with his wife, and she gave birth to a son whom she named Seth. because God has granted me other offspring, she said, in place of Abel, since Cain has killed him. A son was also born to Seth, and he named him Enosh. This man was the first to invoke the name of Yahweh. The patriarchs before the flood. This is the roll of Adam's descendants. On the day God created Adam, he made him in the likeness of God. Male and female he created them. He blessed them and gave them the name man on the day they were created. When Adam was 130 years old, he became the father of a son in his likeness, as his image, and he called him Seth. Adam lived for 800 years after the birth of Seth, and he became the father of sons and daughters. In all, Adam lived for 930 years. Then he died. When Seth was 105 years old, he became the father of Enosh. After the birth of Enosh, Seth lived for 807 years and became the father of sons and daughters. In all, Seth lived for 912 years. Then he died. When Enosh was 90 years old, he became the father of Kenan. After the birth of Kenan, Enosh lived for 815 years, and he became the father of sons and daughters. In all, Enosh lived for 905 years. Then he died. When Kenan was 70 years old, he became the father of Mahalalel. After the birth of Mahalalel, Kenan lived for 840 years, and he became the father of sons and daughters. In all, Kenan lived for 910 years. Then he died. When Mahalalel was 65 years old, he became the father of Jared. After the birth of Jared, Mahalalel lived for 830 years, and he became the father of sons and daughters. In all, Mahalalel lived for 895 years. Then he died. When Jared was 162 years old, he became the father of Enoch. After the birth of Enoch, Jared lived for 800 years, and he became the father of sons and daughters. In all, Jared lived for 962 years. Then he died. When Enoch was 65 years old, he became the father of Methuselah. Enoch walked with God. After the birth of Methuselah, he lived for 300 years, and he became the father of sons and daughters. In all, Enoch lived for 365 years. Enoch walked with God. Then he vanished because God took him. When Methuselah was 187 years old, he became the father of Lamech. After the birth of Lamech, Methuselah lived for 782 years, and he became the father of sons and daughters. In all, Methuselah lived for 969 years. Then he died. When Lamech was 182 years old, he became the father of a son. He gave him the name Noah, because he said, "Here is one who will give us, in the midst of our toil and the laboring of our hands, a consolation derived from the ground that Yahweh cursed." After the birth of Noah, Lamech lived for 595 years and became the father of sons and daughters. In all, Lamech lived for 777 years. Then he died. When Noah was 500 years old, he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Sons of God and daughters of men. When men had begun to be plentiful on the earth, and daughters had been born to them, The sons of God, looking at the daughters of men, saw they were pleasing, so they married as many as they chose. Yahweh said, "My spirit must not forever be disgraced in man, for he is but flesh. His life shall last no more than 120 years." The Nephilim were on the earth at that time, and even afterwards, when the sons of God resorted to the daughters of men, and had children by them. These are the heroes of days gone by, the famous men. The flood, the corruption of mankind. Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great on the earth, and that the thoughts in his heart fashioned nothing but wickedness all day long. Yahweh regretted having made man on the earth, and his heart grieved. "I will rid the earth's face of man, my own creation," Yahweh said, "and of animals also, reptiles too, and the birds of heaven, for I regret having made them." But Noah had found favor with Yahweh. This is the story of Noah. Noah was a good man, a man of integrity among his contemporaries, and he walked with God. Noah became the father of 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth grew corrupt in God's sight and filled with violence. God contemplated the earth. It was corrupt, for corrupt were the ways of all flesh on the earth. Preparations for the flood. God said to Noah, "The end has come for all things of flesh. I have decided this because the earth is full of violence of man's making, and I will efface them from the earth. Make yourself an ark out of resinous wood. Make it with reeds and line it with pitch inside and out. This is how to make it. The length of the ark is to be 300 cubits, its breadth 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. Make a roof for the ark. Put the door of the ark high up in the side, and make a first, second, and third deck. For my part, I mean to bring a flood, and send the waters over the earth to destroy all flesh on it, every living creature under heaven. Everything on earth shall perish. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you must go on board the ark, yourself, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives along with you. From all living creatures, from all flesh, you must take 2 of each kind aboard the ark, to save their lives with yours. They must be a male and a female. Of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of reptile on the ground, 2 must go with you, so that their lives may be saved. For your part, provide yourself with eatables of all kinds, and lay in a store of them, to serve as food for yourself and them." Noah did all this. He did all that God had ordered him. Yahweh said to Noah, "Go aboard the ark, you and all your household, for you alone among this generation do I see as a good man in my judgment. Of all the clean animals, you must take 7 of each kind, both male and female. Of the unclean animals, you must take 2, a male and its female. And of the birds of heaven also, 7 of each kind, both male and female, to propagate their kind over the whole earth. For in 7 days' time I mean to make it rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. And I will rid the earth of every living thing that I made." Noah did all that Yahweh orders. Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters appeared on the earth.